What is up guys, Wraec is here with new video, and today we're once again on the Pioneer server to check out the new seasonal update. Mainly one thing that has already stirred up quite a discussion on all of the Discord servers for AFK Journey. And in fact, this is something, well, as we have to say, it's Pioneer server, so it may not come to the game quite in that shape, but of course the intent is here. We can see it right there. Those wonderful stars over here are a new power upgrade that can be applied to every single hero in the game, given it is upgraded far enough, because you actually need the hero to be at Paragon 1 to do the first of those upgrades. If you are not at Paragon 1, this won't be available. We can see here on Thorin, that is all base level, we see plus 25, and after your weapon is upgraded to plus 25, you can now go ahead and use another upgrade. You will use this essence over here that we can check out. It is called Slumber Essence. We'll go over the sources for this in a second, and you can see that will give you a base stat upgrade, very minor base stat upgrade, 1%. It doesn't come with like, well, levels. So you don't have like, oh, this is purple star plus 1, 2, 3. No, it's just purple star, that's it. And then you have 1% higher space stats plus, and that is the most important part, you gain rivalry stats. And this is a discussion we already had. Rival stats are only active in PvP and provide you with a boost there. They're usually acquired through paragoning your hero or to do paragon upgrades on your hero. So we do already have like a certain base amount of those. They are active in the PvP game modes: Arena, Supreme Arena, Crystal Clash, Clash Fronts, Raid and Supreme League. There are some new ones. We talked about it in the update video that I did a little bit. Some of those are guild game modes. The Supreme League was one that I was personally waiting to play, because this is actually something that is kind of close to a game mode, another game that I play, Idle Heroes, a tournament style PvP game mode, which I think is very cool. But in those game modes, those stats are active, and of course, well, you can kind of draw the connection already. New PvP game mode, new PvP power creep that will also kind of go and influence the normal gameplay as well, because we do get the stat upgrades, which are only minor, so you still, well, probably can't get away with using a bad team with this stat upgrade. But if somebody doesn't have this stat upgrade and you have it, obviously you have an advantage, will likely score a little bit higher. And with the small gaps we see on the leaderboards, well, it might just be enough to give you the #1 position. If you max that out, that will, by the way, look like this. We'd see 8% damage boost, 8% damage reduction. It says 8% actually. The energy region reduction 16 and 16. And we do already have some of those stats on the hero. I don't think they are merged, or they are merged actually. So we get to go to 76, 76. The base of this is 60 on Paragon 4. So on Paragon 4 we have 60 energy region reduction plus now the 16 that come on top of it from the weapon. And then we have damage boost and damage reduction here, quite the same. We can compare that to regular Thorin over here, which has 60, 60 and 24, 24. It's actually quite a substantial boost to those rivalry stats by about 25%. And we'll see in a second how noticeable this really turns out to be, because I recorded a little bit of an example for that. I went ahead and just did a fight, and I wanted to show you guys how different fights look. For that, I fought Midnight Danger. And I used a very, very basic team here, nothing too fancy. It is a protected Chimera. That is really nothing too fancy. The interesting part here is, well, we do have an energy region reduction and, well, higher energy region. So comparably, heroes that want to go for burst ults, such as Chimera, such as Cryonaya, also Firen, of course, they do profit a bit more from it, because your winning condition is basically reaching that ult. So I wanted to use the Chimera here, and I wanted to see how basically using the same team, first without these stars, we can see there are basically no star upgrades here, and then with the stars would influence this fight, and we can just go ahead and look into it. I do have an advantage here. It is not about that. You will see that this fight is still relatively close, because I got the new unit, which name I just forgot, and absolutely monstrous damage. My god, absolutely monstrous damage from that unit. Way more scary actually than the Firen that we fight there. And it makes kind of a big difference. Yeah, we have to wait for contests here. It's not super interesting, but we can watch this fight one more time. Maybe we just replay it. and turn it down from the speed so that you can get more of an idea, because this is more important for us to see how this fight goes than actually who's winning and why. We want to see the difference. So we get the ult here, around 81 seconds left. We didn't get silenced, which was something that I had to kind of incorporate and had to make sure of, because if we get silent, that can change the outcome of this fight quite a lot. And we see the final result of this is that we have basically Half-Life Chimera, Half-Life Eliseth left on the board. And we can now take a look. Now I basically went ahead and I upgraded both of those units to the highest star level possible. Now spent basically the 300 essence of on every unit that we have on the battlefield. Now Ludovic, Chimera, Eliseth, Alna and Kellen. Now let's go in and check the result now. So as I said, same team, same positioning, no change there. It is just that they now have the higher stats from all 4 of those upgrades. And we can see ult again at 81 seconds, but we got the kill on the enemy already way earlier. And we will see a vastly different outcome in terms of survival here. So really that was something that surprised me a little bit. The energy region didn't really change a whole lot for this. But it nonetheless seemed to work out for the damage reduction. It's a little bit confusing because we should have gotten the ult a little bit earlier, but it didn't really matter for this. Maybe because of some breaking points for the energy gain that we had to gain like 1 more tick of energy gain anyway. But we see that a lot of this is actually alive that wasn't alive before, and there's a very big difference here in the damage from Sulfira. Because we are able to take out Sulfira very, very quickly. We can watch it one more time. Big hit, stun going in. Absolutely nuking Sulfira here. Sulfira getting back up. Can't get the energy in time before getting destroyed. And I think those small things are really what make the difference here. Because it isn't like a huge buff. It isn't a huge buff. Yes, 25% is strong, is good, no question about it. But we're talking about the absolute peak limit difference here. But I think like those small things, those small changes, they can already make a difference. And they can make it so your hero doesn't get an ult in time, doesn't get to hit, and your team thus gets destroyed. So kind of a big change there. The contest here, of course, also taking some time here. Horrible hero, I hate her. Horrible. And thus we get a very, very different result here overall. We can watch the damage numbers. Yeah, pretty big difference. Frieren, still I think it's kind of funny, does the big damage. It hits us, yeah, but it really didn't do anything. So it made a big difference that we got this upgrade, in my opinion. So yeah, overall pretty big boost. If we take a look at it, well, the max stats, as I said, 8 damage boost, 8 damage reduction comes out to the to 25% boost to the already existing stats at P4. As I said before, one more thing, you can't have those stat upgrades on a Supreme Plus hero, so we'll have to have Paragon. We can check this out right here, upgraded Gwyneth actually to plus 25. And when we try to enhance, it says we have to ascend the hero to Paragon. Before we can do that, if we ascend to Paragon 1 just for this test. There we go. Exclusive equipment limit raised. We have it right there. We also, of course, on Paragon 1 do have like the basic stats. We have the 6 damage boost and the 15 energy region reduction. And then once we upgrade our weapon over here, enhance, we can go to the next level, get ourselves our first boost to our stat. We can't go further, so you can see there are 4 levels for those weapons, and they are associated each with the Paragon level, so the yellow one would be associated with Paragon 2, which makes sense. It's also the same color that is on Paragon. But that brings us now for Paragon 1 to a total of 8 damage boost and 19 energy region reduction. So quite substantial stats overall, and it is a big change. And there you can see, yeah, colors are fitting. But where do you get this now? So we talked about basically what it is. Where do you get it? We have the essence right here, Slumber Essence. Of course, on the Pioneer server, we do have 19,000 of it. But it's a good idea to see how it is balanced, how they are planning to introduce it into the game. And for that, the Acquire tab is actually quite interesting. We have Emporium over here, which seems like it would be free to play. It's actually referring only to the Spirit Store, which you unlock after having a unit at Paragon 4, and then duplicates of those units can be converted to the currency Spirit Shard and can be used to unlock, well, the Slumber Essence. It costs 90 over here, 3 Stellar Crystals cost 60, so it's about 50% more expensive, which is kind of insane. And you can buy it 12 times here, and it's 5 of the essence. So you can get a total of 60 essence from here if you have enough duplicates or saved up enough of it. And it will cost you 1080 of this essence, which is a lot in fact. If we go ahead and do we have, oh, well, that's great. We do have some shards here. We can retire an 8 here for that. And we can see that will give us 10 of it. The S tiers are a little bit more expensive, but obviously you kind of want to avoid usually going for duplicates. We have 48 million gems here that are going to expire because we are at the gem cap. That is fancy. I didn't know there was a gem cap. Okay, I got distracted. But it is of course rather expensive to do and get the essence that way. So the immediate thought would be, well, then we go through another way. There are some more listed on it, one of which of course being the trolley. Here, well, we do have some offers. We don't have a whole lot. Right now, only the bi-weekly bundles, unlimited bundles seem to include it. We don't have it in any of those other packs. There are 2 packs I found so far that are included. The first one is the Select Recruit bundle, which is kind of inefficient. Usually with the resources, we talked about it when I made the video about Stellar Crystals and how much Stellar Crystals really cost depending on which pack you get. This pack in general, because there is a lot of other stuff in there and it gives you a selection, is a little bit on the lower end of the value it grants you. It has this Select Growth chest though. And this is such a great placement for it. We get 200 Tidal Essence here, 40 Temporal Essence, 20 of the Twilight Essence. There is 1 chest in here. This will cost 1,500, so about 50 USD the pack. Obviously, there is the second chest plus some diamonds, but you get 8, 8 Slumber Essence. So it's priced in this pack around 5 times as expensive as Temporal Essence, and we can kind of expect that this will be the route that they take through normal packs as well. So if you got, I don't know, 200 Temporal Essence from a pack, that pack would give you around 40, but there isn't such a pack. We see that usually Temporal Essence is given out in, well, way more limited quantities. 8 is very sad, of course. As I said, from like to get all 4 levels it would be 300. To get the first level it would be 60. So to get that from this pack you would have to buy it quite a lot. There is a second pack, however, which is a little bit more efficient. The exclusive equipment bundle number 4 gives us 30 of this essence, 1,850 gems for 1,850 dragon crystals. So it's about 60 USD, I think. And you get 30, which is half a level. So the pricing, the first upgrade apparently in this shop at over 100 USD, which is pretty expensive. Game mode wise, there are of course game modes also listed in the acquire tab. I'm getting always confused with that. There are game modes listed in here. Mainly it is listed Growth Trials and Supreme League. I got one, there was one Growth Trial success in here where we got it. We have one over here, send 1 hero to Paragon 2, which you can claim. 3 hero to Paragon 2, 5 hero to Paragon 2. Paragon 2. So there are somehow a lot of challenges right now for it. I don't know, I restarted the game one time and there were even more. So I don't know if that's really that intended, because that currently seems like a lot. It's a one-time thing, but it seems like a lot. So that had me a little bit confused. The other thing is it doesn't seem to be included in any of the season quests. I tried looking here. We sometimes have some essences up in the challenges, but there is nothing really here in terms of Slumber Essence, so not really included any of that. Here it isn't. And then the only other game mode that they list was the Supreme League, where it's also like a little bit of an icon right there. But you can't start that right now on the server, so it's not included. If you click it, it doesn't crash the game, but it kind of looks like it did. Actually will kind of reset in a second. It is not included in Dream Realm. I checked. It doesn't matter which reward you get. The Supreme Arena Has it on none of the daily reward stages. We still only have the Twilight Essence there. We have League points here now, which is for the Supreme League. But there's no loot that we see there. The button here doesn't work. And we don't have it in other common sources of essences as well. I was checking the Stellar Crystal Summons. I actually unlocked that just for this case, but they didn't include any more loot in here, so the percentages for what we had before, Temporal Essence and Tidal Essence, are still the same. We don't have Rosy Cosmetics right now, so I can't really check that. There is Temporal Essence in there as well, but I can't check that so far, and the same goes for the guild modes, which also, at least on the surface, didn't seem to change. We do have a little bit of a name change here, but most of those aren't active right now, so we can't really change too much of this. So what does this mean in total? Well, this is an absolutely endgame power creep that somehow on the surface gives you a rather generous amount up front if you have some progress in there. Challenges like upgrading a hero to Paragon 2, most of you guys have already completed that, so from the current game state you get a big load of this essence up front. And then if you want to, of course, upgrade and go into PvP and keep your pure advantage, the game kind of wants you to spend. It doesn't give too many packs there. It considers the packs that there are currently at about 650% value, which is lower than the usual packs that you see in pop-ups. I would expect there to be a pop-up for those, for the slumber essence, which we yet have to see. And we don't know yet how it is going to be included in events. I would expect if there's something along the lines of a free run event that would be included in that. Is this bad for the game? Oh, to a limited extent. I don't like it particularly. It's another whaling thing that goes on top of the hero. We do have, if you are a whale right now and you want to compete, and let's say they release something like a Gunnar, you summon the Gunnar and it's going to Paragon 4, which costs you 1,000 USD or something, which is crazy. Then right now you would say, oh, actually to really make this guy usable, I would have to go ahead and do this as well, which will cost you another good amount of money. I mean, I don't really know how much, but it's like 500 USD if you buy it from the trolley right now without further packs. So that's a little bit crazy. Depends or obviously on how much we can get from normal gameplay, but I wouldn't expect this to be like, I don't know, the most generous free-to-play thing they throw out. It's kind of a chase reward from PvP that gives you a huge advantage in PvP and can be bought by whales if they want to win Supreme League and go to the top. And I see the idea. You want to go ahead and you want to have like your top end PvP game mode, probably throw a few cosmetics in the end. I like that, by the way. I'm a big fan of tournaments in such games. And then, of course, you want to give the Krakens a tool to win. And that is essentially it. Will it be a huge influence on the leaderboards and other game modes? I doubt it. Honestly, it will probably still be that you lose to the same persons you lost before. Because the persons that are, people that are going to buy this, you lost to them before. Those are already on place 1 and 2 and 3 and whatever on the leaderboard and have a huge distance to you. That is just the case. To me as well. It is no difference. And those rivalry stats aren't active in stuff like Ravaged Realm, so they have 4% more stats now. I don't think that is really going to be the thing where you are completely thrown off and can't win anymore because you didn't win before against them because they had the Paragon. So it's just another thing for whales that they can buy, I guess. If it's a good purchase, I doubt it. Honestly, for me, it has the same problem that stars have. It is not really transferable. I haven't seen yet if it is even transferable at all. I don't think we have a reset right now on this account. So that is another question that I asked. Can we even transfer this from one account to another or from one hero to another? Can we reset it and take it back from a hero? There doesn't seem to be an easy way to it. So, I mean, we just upgraded the Gunnar. There is no button. We can't take that. It's maxed. There was the assumption that it would be reset by those star resets we get throughout the season. Actually found an ex-equipment reset. So we can try that right now. That will be interesting. I was told about this, that there was an ex-equipment reset actually in here. And we had 50 already. I'm very, very stupid. I just noticed. So this will be reset to plus 15. Do I get all my materials back? We do. So we can reset it with that. But it isn't like this is a resource that is easily obtained and that you can get very often. At least with the plus 15 it is kind of alright. It could be worse. With the plus 15 at least you get it back. So that's something. Otherwise it would be like you would really be stuck with that investment on the hero, and obviously that would make the hero last a little bit longer. You could probably use Gunnar a little bit longer in PvP, but at one point it would just be power crept by new units. I think it will broaden the distance between like high spenders and whales, like the really big whales. The people that say, okay, I don't care if I spend 1,000, then I spend 1,500 now. Doesn't matter to me. Personally, I'm like more in the 100, 200 USD per month area where I spend right now. So really nothing of concern to me. It will be a little bit of free-to-play loot. It will be relevant where you place it at the beginning. If you are a person that says, okay, my Chimera carries me in PvE and PvP, then you put it there. Probably you want to have it on your Gala. I don't know if you would place it mostly on your PvP heroes. I would reckon you would. Because the difference for PvE isn't really that great. It's 4% more stats. But then again, for some it might be worth it. Honestly, if you could just upgrade one hero to max, I would probably still make it my main PvE carry. Or probably have it on my main PvE carry. And then just try to use it in PvP too. Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter really. Because if you're going to lose to a whale, it's not because you don't have the stars on the hero. You're going to lose to a whale because the whale has, or the high spender has like Alda, and you can't even kill the hero at all that he's fighting you with. So wouldn't really make a difference for that. And I think it's negatively conceived too much to an extent. I think it's not going to change the general gameplay of most people. It's not going to be a huge difference for that. And thus, I think it is okay. It also doesn't provide anything for the gameplay. Maybe a chase item. I think that's something that the game is still a bit short of. And chase items in general, something where you say, oh, that is the loot from this game mode. That is why I go into it, and that is why I like this game mode, and that is why I really want to go for it. And I think many game modes lack that, so having something like this essence where you can say, okay, I get the big upgrade for PvP, maybe that is something that is interesting. It does provide the benefit, nonetheless, even though you're still at the mercy of RNG in most of those fights. And at the mercy of some annoying units that they have released in recent times. Like Contes. That just adds 20 seconds to the fight. Doesn't change the outcome here at all, but it adds 20 seconds to the fight. That is crazy. Yeah. So I would be really curious to hear your opinions about this. What are you going to do? Are you going to be annoyed about this? Are you going to comment on some of the Discord channels, or do you think it's just something that doesn't matter? I'm not angry about this. I don't think I am. I think it's vastly too expensive. That's what it is. But honestly, it also has its perks. If it's just like vastly too expensive, then you don't even have to think about it. I see this as an upside. I don't even consider it. It's so expensive that I would say I'm so far off from what I'm willing to spend that I'm not even at the point where I'm like, I really want to upgrade this hero. I would consider using it. I would probably consider taking it off from one hero and putting it to the other and using the free resources I got for that. That is probably the only thing that I would really consider there. If you'd want to spend, however, there is a great opportunity for you. I would recommend you check out the link in the description. That link will lead you to Lootbar. And on Lootbar you will get a big discount on the Dragon Crystals. And if you spend that towards, well, a new essence, or maybe a bit more exciting, towards getting a few more free copies before that event ends, and before the new season starts, well, then I would definitely invite you to do that, and you can support me with that link down in the description. Other than that, I wish you a great day, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see us in the next one.